All right. Good afternoon, Arkansas. This is Assistant Chief Forecaster Cameron
and Chief Forecaster Derek. Finally back after 3 weeks of a COVID leave, but feeling a whole lot better too. And of course, every time I seem to come back from some kind of sickness or something, there always happens to be a weather event that decides to show up. And last time we were talking a little bit of winter weather, a little bit of severe weather. This time we are talking about the possibility of what could be a major winter storm across much of the state of Arkansas. I've been tracking this with Cameron a little bit on the outside over the past few days, and this is very similar to the setup from a year ago, where we started talking about 70s, and then we had rain, and then we had ice, and followed up with snow. We're not expecting that type of setup again. This one is much more concerning with the amount of warm air we have in place right now, and what's to come with the system coming up.
Right. So if you guys are just now tuning in, I want to explain this map that you're seeing here. So this is what's called the WSSI map, or what the terminology for it is Winter Storm Severity Index. And basically what this means is just for particular impacts. So this is from NOAA. And you can see the darker orange across northern Arkansas and even the metro now. That's where we're looking at moderate impacts to travel, etc. And then you have your yellow area down there in southern Arkansas that goes from minor impacts and then decreasing from there here. So the one thing we always talk about with these graphics, it doesn't mean that no one's going to see winter weather or anything like that. This is strictly for travel impacts. It's strictly for travel, power outages, etc. It's like everything combined into one. So if you see a map like this, don't assume that you're not going to see anything or anything like that. It has nothing to do with winter weather at all, except for the impacts. We're talking power outages and travel conditions as well. So
now this is just for the day. This is from Wednesday night through Thursday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yep.
This is just through midday. Well, through midday on Thursday. Yep. Now again, right now, guidance is still back and forth on the timing and, of course, the amounts of temperatures. But overall, confidence has increased that we will see an impactful winter storm, especially from Mena to Little Rock to Memphis points north. Now, as you can see, that is where most of your moderate impacts are right now. That is where the highest confidence is of seeing freezing rain, sleet, and snow. Obviously, in the yellow, impacts are still expected, and this goes strictly for travel.
Yep.
So therefore you notice orange in Little Rock because it's a major metropolitan area, and then of course lesser questions exist for areas like Memphis, Pine Bluff, Arkadelphia, on down towards the southwest corner of the state. But the bigger story here is going to be confidence is increasing in a major winter storm as we head through the middle part of the week.
And I want to stress something too. You're already seeing orange on day 4.
Yep.
You normally, in normal situations, you'll see the orange come up or day 1 or a day 2 situation, but you're seeing it all the way out to day 4 now. So the confidence ends there for the potential of a major winter storm out of this. Okay, the question right now is accumulations, the worst area for impacts, etc. Honestly, once we get a better idea on what we're looking at, I wouldn't be shocked if this orange area came another 50 to 100 miles south, and you start introducing red areas across the area once we get a better idea on what we are potentially looking at as we get towards that Wednesday and the Thursday time frame here. So,
and again, not only are we talking about this, but I know a lot of people asking will it be clear on Friday? Will the roads be clear on Friday? The biggest thing is, if you remember last year, where we were in the 70s, and then like we are today, and we're going to be tomorrow. And then we had the Arctic front come through. We had a round of ice and sleet, and we stayed cold for several days. Looking maybe not as strong of an Arctic air mass as we had last year, but very similar event that your overnight lows are going to be in the single digits and teens.
Exactly.
And your highs are only going to be in the 20s and 30s. So roads are going to have a lot harder time clearing out. Plus, there's another disturbance that we're watching Friday morning that could bring in another round of light snow, and another disturbance after that as we head into the weekend next weekend. So this is setting up to be one of those similar events where we're going to get all of winter at one time. We mentioned this in our winter outlook that most of winter will probably come in a 2 or 3 week stretch. Late January, early February. And so far, things are right on course. But now Now you want to know what can we expect for Wednesday night, for Wednesday into Thursday. Again, everybody will start out as rain.
Yes.
We're going to see rain shower, maybe even a few storms on Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, and early Wednesday. But as we shift through the day on Wednesday and that Arctic front comes through, this is where things get crazy.
Right. So as you can see, this is our scenario 2 map, and I posted this first thing this morning. Me and Derek both, we're going to be in the Weather Center today. We're going to kind of collaborate on a first look preset map, which will probably come out to you guys later on this evening, just depending on what guidance is looking like. If it doesn't come out this evening, it will definitely be out by first thing tomorrow morning. We were going to do it this morning, but we were trying to see what the situation was going to be with guidance right now, so we just kind of stick with the scenario maps for now, but just kind of look out for that first look preset map coming out between this evening or even first thing in the morning here. But this is scenario 2. This is where the highest confidence from both of us is right now. So as Derek said before, and this is the thing that I want to talk to you guys about, like he mentioned, it's going to start off as all rain. I know we're going to get to Wednesday and Thursday, and it's going to be rain, and we're going to get a lot of comments about this is busting, etc., what happened to the ice and stuff. We want to tell you straight forward, 4 days out, that this is going to stay, this is going to be starting as rain. This is going to start as rain here in Arkansas. So please remember that. I know, like I said before, I know a lot of people are going to question once we get to Wednesday and Thursday. It's going to start off as rain. You will transition over.
And here's the big thing. So, Northwest Arkansas will be first. Obviously, that's always the case. Again, you will likely be late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning.
Yep, exactly.
Now, well, here's the thing. You're going to have a spread where Lake Village will be near 65 to 70. And you're going to have Fayetteville and Springdale in the 20s. This is one of those type Arctic front. However, we're not expecting any severe weather because of the timing of the front. So, as this moves through, as the front moves through, your temperatures will plummet, and they will plummet fast.
Yep.
And it all depends with these shallow Arctic air masses. Guidance tends to underdo the cold air at the surface, and that's what it's kind of battling with right now.
Exactly.
Best case scenario is the Arctic air is faster and deeper than what we expect. Well, then we'll be talking more snow versus ice. However, this is one of those classic. If you lived in Arkansas long enough, you know we tend to get those classic ice and sleet storms once about every 5 to 10, maybe even as late as 15 years. And this is one of those setups where it's set up for the mountains to see the majority of the snow, and for the areas further south of the mountains to see a rain to ice to snow mix, with southern Arkansas seeing mostly ice.
Right.
This is a very classic setup for that, with mostly rain, ending as ice in the south. The biggest concern is the area across the central third of the state, from southwest Arkansas through central into east central Arkansas.
Right, that area that is highlighted in that black line that you see that goes from the Queen and Ashdown to the metro up to West Memphis. That's the area of concern at this point for prolonged snow and ice combination. And someone just threw a comment about the 2009 ice storm. Honestly, if you want to be technical, I think we're kind of more of the 2000 ice storm versus the 2009.
I wouldn't necessarily. Right now, it's too soon
it's too early.
An exact number on
Definitely.
it, because here's the thing: if you have 31 and 32 and freezing rain, it's going to focus mostly on the trees and power lines. If you have 28, 29 like we had in 2000 and 2009. Then you're talking about a larger scale impact. Now, with that being said, guidance is all over the place with those surface temperatures anywhere from 34 to 27 degrees, with precip falling and increasing. This is the key thing. Your precip increases throughout this event. It doesn't decrease, it increases. Now, if you remember the last few systems, the precip was decreasing. This one is actually increasing as it moves through. So this is why our concern for winter weather is much higher. Our confidence is much higher, because this is more of a classic setup for that type of event. But with that being said, it's way too soon to say, oh, this is going to be like a 2000 or 2009. Those were generational events.
Very generational.
You know, what I can say is that there is a risk for a prolonged period of ice, especially with temperatures between 29 and 32 degrees. And with that being said, we could see wide areas of 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice. And again, once you go past 1/2 inch of ice, it starts getting really, really bad. And really anything past that is when you start watching for, issues with your power lines and your trees and stuff like that.
Yep.
And that's our biggest concern for this black area is that prolonged period of freezing rain before we switch to sleet and or snow.
Right. So we've basically covered scenario number 2. Let's go and talk about scenario number 1. Now this is lower confidence, but it's still there. It's still the wrench in the forecast right now here. So as you can see across northern Arkansas, we're pretty confident up there. That's why you had an orange area for the winter storm severity index up there, because you're pretty confident on seeing winter weather up there, even in some cases a winter storm.
Yep.
The further south you go, the more confidence starts to drop, but confidence is increasing in those areas. So we're pretty confident northern Arkansas is going to be primarily a wintry mix to going over to all snow. In scenario 2, central Arkansas is mainly rain going over to an icy mist. That's freezing rain and sleet. And also down in far southern Arkansas, you say it's a cold rain. So it's a wait and see right now. Temperatures, as you mentioned before, guidance is not going to do well with these temperatures at all. This may be a situation where we get maybe day 1 and guidance still doesn't have a good handle on temperatures because of how it does with Arctic air. So just keep that in mind. As said before, we're not trying to, make a comparison to 2000 or 2009. As he said before, those are generational years. Every event is different. However, the concern is there for the potential of a major winter storm across the area.
Now, if you're a model watcher, and you don't really know what you're looking at, when you're looking at this map going, well, this is what the model showed this afternoon with the 12Z runs.
Yep.
The GFS, the Euro, both showed a setup very close to what is pictured here. Now, here's the thing. Those are operational runs that are based off of 50 different model sets.
Yep.
GFS and Euro have anywhere from 30 to 50 ensemble runs. Well, we don't necessarily look at the operational. We also look at the setup and also experience in dealing with the Arctic air masses, as well as look at the overall what is called the EPS and the GEFS, which is the ensemble mean. Ensemble means are very similar to scenario 2, which is what our original map was.
Yep.
So again, this is just a scenario 1 says scenario 2. This is not an official forecast. The first look will come out tomorrow when there's better confidence. Confidence is there that, as Cameron said, regardless of where you live in northern Arkansas, this is going to be mostly a wintry mix to snow event with the potential of some rain at the start.
Yep.
Again, from Jonesboro to Helena to Ashdown, DeQueen, Mena, Waldron, and really all of the metro area, my concern is freezing rain and sleet. I've seen this set up time and time again, and I've seen to where the cold air comes in sooner at the surface, but aloft, we're still way too warm for anything but freezing rain.
Yep.
And so it's something we're going to have to watch because Arctic air tends to ooze around the mountains. And this is a very classic setup to where it comes around the mountains, and when it does, that tends to lead to colder air at the surface down in central to southwest Arkansas.
Yep.
Before the deeper cold air comes over the mountains.
Yep, and that's another one thing that the NAM is trying to throw out as well, where it has that colder air kind of sneaking around the mountains, going through northern and northeastern Arkansas, and then filtering down into central Arkansas at that point here. So that's it for that scenario number 1 at this point. 40% for this one, 40% for this one, 60% with the other one right now here. But as before, we're still 4 days out, folks. Still time for a lot of changes, etc. here. So with these live streams, as you know, once we start talking about guidance, we start answering questions. So we're going to jump to guidance, and we're going to answer some questions while we're at it.
And the biggest thing, before I do everything, is that everything is starting. The time frame for winter weather is going to be Wednesday morning through Thursday evening. This is not going to be a fast mover at all. This is a classic stalled out cold front that's going to stall out, and you're going to have systems riding along it.
Yep.
And as I mentioned, we're also watching early Friday for a weak disturbance to come through and bring snow showers on top of what's already fallen on Thursday. So something we're going to be watching, but we'll go over that in just a minute.
Right. So what you're looking at here is what we call the NAM. This is a NAM. First of all, look at all this cold air up here in the plains. That tells me you have a very strong Arctic ridge in place. Mm-hmm. But notice something, as you guys saw just a second ago when I was winding the model through. Notice how the cold air is seeking down into central and into eastern Arkansas. We saw this Similar setup with the last event, that Saturday with the upper level low that came through. That northwest wind kind of snuck in, and it caused temperatures to bust across western Arkansas. Remember, Russellville was supposed to be at 45 degrees. They ended up at 33 first thing that morning. So this plays a very, very critical role on trying to forecast this, because guidance is not going to do this. This is where you're going to start looking at medium range models, short range models that's going to start hinting on that colder air kind of sneaking around the mountains.
And confidence and basically experience with Arctic air masses.
Yeah.
No matter what guidance piece you look at.
Yep, exactly.
This is a key thing. They always underdo the Arctic air. This is why we stress this so much. Just because you look at operational run and say, oh, it's not going to do anything. Well, that's not the case. And if you look at your apps, they're going to change. With each model run, they're going to change. Don't buy the apps, because they change with each single model run.
Yes. That's the number one thing we deal with here. Everyone asks about, my app says this, my app says that. They change. They run off the same thing that you're seeing on your screen. Those are models. They change every time a model changes. So that's why you see the changes so much with those weather apps here. So let's go ahead and tackle some questions, Derek.
Michael Dew had a very good point.
Yeah.
Models showed the 1046 millibar high versus 1048, which means the cold air is a little bit colder and deeper.
Yeah.
Which means either way, it's going to come in sooner.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's our biggest concern, is that we're going to have rain ongoing on Wednesday morning. The biggest concern right now is this coming in sooner. So right now, let's go through the precip types of each model.
Yeah, we're gonna start with the Canadian here. Yep. So first off, before we do that, Derek, I want to show everyone something real quickly here. So I'm gonna go back to satellite imagery here, and we're gonna look at the system. Yeah. We're gonna look and see where the system is at this point here. So remember, I've been telling you guys this over the last couple of days, where the system has been in Alaska. It's been kind of around the upper air networks up here, and we're gonna show you guys that real fast here. So this is your system right here.
It's back offshore.
It's back offshore. Yeah. So that tells me right there that model guidance does not have a handle on this system yet. That's why you're seeing with today's 12Z coming back warmer versus last night's guidance that was much colder. Guidance does not have a handle on this system right now, okay? Because it's offshore. Until this system makes it into the mainland U.S., you're not going to have wall-to-wall consistency with models. Yep. Okay, that's why we're telling you. That's where our experience comes in over guidance. That's what separates us from the rest. Instead of going off of guidance, we go off of experience. Go off of what's happened in the past. What are we dealing with? What's the setup? And then go from there. Here. So this is the number one reason why you're seeing a back and forth with model guidance right now. It is completely offshore at this point. And but this thing is a beast out there.
Tonight's runs will start to show a different story. Yeah. Because this is coming on. This will be coming on shore later this afternoon. Actually, here in just a couple hours. And what that's going to do, that'll start being sampled by the upper air soundings, upper air networks, and that will tell us the story as to where this is tracking. The biggest concern I see is it's a little bit further south already than where it was yesterday. Yep. And that's something we're going to have to watch, because as we get real-time data in, the tracking this low. If this low goes further south, it's going to pull that cold air further south, and we know what happens in that setup.
Exactly.
We know a track through central Texas, central to southern Louisiana, and to central to southern Mississippi always gives us our best winter storms. That is what we are expecting with this event.
Yep, exactly. So that's what I wanted to show you guys before we look at guidance. That way you're seeing the back and forth with the warming and stuff like that. We call it a pump fake for a reason, because we get day 2, day 3, it's going to be a completely different story. So, of course, it'll be watched, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a trend right now here. So let's go ahead and jump on the Canadian here. Yep. So first off, the Canadian is going to have a better idea on the situation, because it does better with the cold air, and it has the closest sampling to the system as we're going to get right now. So let's go ahead and take this out. Okay, so you see tomorrow, can't realize some showers down there in southern Arkansas with another disturbance. Arctic cold front's going to start moving in as we get towards late Tuesday into Wednesday. 1035 millibar high dropping south. Moisture beginning to overrun that Arctic air. You've got snow, sleet, freezing rain from northwest Arkansas over to Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois, Kansas. You can see that start to drop south, okay? So much of the day on Wednesday, and I want to stress this right now since we're 4 days out, much of the day on Wednesday will be rain for much of Arkansas, except for northern Arkansas. Let me repeat that. Much of the day on Wednesday will be rain, except for northern Arkansas. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this out, and you see what happens there. Go ahead, Derek.
Yep. Now, as you notice, your Arctic front has come through. Now, this is going 12Z Thursday, so this is going to be late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning.
Yep.
Okay. So now, as you see, the Arctic front has come through. Our low is down in Louisiana. What this means is, you notice how it's ridging around the mountains, around how the air came around the mountain. Now, what this is, it's a classic setup for freezing rain, and a lot of it. The other concern is going to be, do we see thunderstorms with this as well?
Yep.
You know, there's
Exactly.
been some guys said yes, some guys says no. It really depends how much loftness instability
Yep.
we are going to see. Regardless, the Canadian model does well with the cold air. Sometimes it kind of overdoes it a little bit, but it has the setup very, 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 very well. It depicts our low. It has our cold air in place, and of course it has a rapid flow of moisture, not only of Gulf moisture, but also we have southwest flow as well. Southwest flow over Arctic air tends to lead to an icing type of event.
Yep, exactly. So you can see what I'm kind of drawing out to you guys. So this is your setup here. So you got your ridge up here. You've got your Arctic air filtering down, your moisture overrunning that Arctic air, and then you got southwest flow over it. So that's what's causing
Orange sleet.
orange sleet, by the way. I know there's a lot of people asking about the colors. Don't focus on the colors right now, guys. This is snow, sleet, freezing rain, and then rain. That's basically all it is. So cold air overrunning the warm air. That's where you're getting your freezing rain across central Arkansas. Orange is sleet, blue, and the darker blue is snow, even heavy snow up here in northwest Arkansas. Light pink is ice, and then darker pink is your heavy freezing rain across much of southern Arkansas, central, southwest Arkansas, up into northeastern Arkansas with this, guys. So that's what the Canadian model wants to do. I think the Canadian model right now, for today at least, has the better handle, and you can see what it does by the time we get towards Thursday afternoon. 1044 millibar high starts sinking down into Arkansas. Colder air is filtering around the mountains, and then you can see where the heaviest freezing rain potential. And as a matter of fact, if you go with the Canadian, you can see where it wants to set up a band up here, which you could potentially see some thunder freezing rain out of this if you go with the Canadian model here. But we transition very, very slowly here in the metro. I'm very concerned about a prolonged period of freezing rains and sleet until we completely change over to snowfall here.
And let's
go
go,
ahead.
you know, and let's compare that. All right, keep on.
Yeah.
Take it, and then of course, you know, you see this ending is light snow.
Yep.
Now, here's the thing. Let's go take a look at the Euro. Because now do not take this word for word, because the Euro's a little bit further, it's a little bit warmer, it's not picking up on the cold air as well. But let's take this out.
Okay.
Something I want to show everybody. Watch the system in West Texas.
Yep.
So let's go and run this out. So now the Euro's a little bit north with this.
Yep.
GFS has us a little bit south.
You can see what it does.
This is the second system that we're talking about for Thursday night and Friday.
Yep.
Now this is a lower chance, but we could see a few snow showers around on Friday after the ice, after the sleet, after the snow. Again, Euro's a little bit north. It was south this morning. The key thing is, can we take a look at? Let's go look at the EPS.
Yeah.
Because the EPS has a much better. Also, we're getting information. Icon and AT&T runs are coming in colder.
And I expected that. So for guidance is going to go back and forth over the next day or so. But you're looking at basically what this is the EPS, what Derek's talking about here, and it predicts. There's your system right here. But look what it's doing here. So basically an ice setup for much of central Arkansas down to southern Arkansas. You can't see precip type, of course. But basically your 0 degree line, which is your snow line, is up here in northwestern Arkansas. Mm-hmm. Much of the area is above freezing, but your temperatures are very, very cold in this area here. So,
and this is a classic. This is what we call a classic ice setup. And then of course you see the second upper low going across with temperatures well below freezing.
Yeah, and
at that point.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say this one right here can be a wild card because of what happens late Thursday night into Friday. if you have travel issues and you're trying to recover the roads, and you get a light system like this that produces a quick hitting inch or two of snow, that's going to further delay your road problems into the weekend and in the early part of next weekend. So
let's go and take this out further, because we're not only talking about midweek, but we're talking about late week. Late into the weekend, you start to see
right here
various ideas coming out of the possibility of another round of wintry weather into next weekend. Now, this one, for you folks in northern Arkansas, could likely favor central and south because of where our high pressure is going to be in the Ohio Valley. This one would favor more of a central and southern event, very similar to what we saw last year. Again, we're still very, very early on this, extremely early on this. We're talking a week away for this. But this has now entered the 7-day period, so now we have to watch this as well. So we have Wednesday and Thursday, we have a small disturbance Friday, and we have a potential of another winter weather event towards next weekend. So 3 events in the 7-day period that we're going to have to watch.
Yep, exactly.
And again, both the Euro, GFS, and CMC all have this set up for all 3 events. So it's something that we're going to have to watch for. So basically, the biggest thing about this live stream today is to help you to be prepared for the possibility of a prolonged period of winter weather, travel issues, and colder weather.
Right. So, number one thing I want to show everybody real quick. So, this is the Euro. I'm going to take it back to the Euro real quickly here. You can see how warm the 12Z has came in versus the 00Z. So, this is basically what we're talking about. Okay, last night, very confident on this being a pretty decent winter storm for much of the guidance. Okay, then 12Z comes out much warmer. This is how much guidance has came back warmer today. This is the flip-flopping we're talking about. Okay, this is why we're saying right now, for those that are a model watcher, don't just go off of one run. Don't go off of one model, because it's going to flip-flop until we get a better handle on this system. So let's go ahead and try to tackle some questions while we're here. We're not trying to ignore anyone, by the way, and everyone's kind of not getting their questions answered and leaving. Folks, it's very important that you stay with us in this live stream. Okay, it's very, very crucial, because we got a lot of information we're going to go over here. So I'm going to tackle some questions here. What about travel on Friday from Texarkana to Wynn? Right now, Heather, I would prepare for icy roads on your commute. Kind of have a backup plan right now. For those that are trying to figure out what to do for this week, the best thing I can tell you is plan for winter weather. If you're in northern Arkansas, plan for a winter storm. Central and south right now, you have a little bit of an advantage because guidance is still back and forth, but still have that mindset on preparing. Making sure you're taking care of for food, make sure you're taking care of for batteries and stuff like that. Have a plan ready to go, even if it doesn't happen. Because I'd rather for you guys to be prepared and ready to go than trying to rush out last second and getting stuff and then you can't find anything, right? So, same thing for Russellville travel-wise. I want to stress that you guys stay prepared for icy conditions in this area. Go ahead, Derek.
Let's go back to our map.
Okay.
So basically, this is what we're saying.
Yep.
So, like you said, highest confidence in a winter storm is in northern Arkansas.
Yep.
I fully expect winter storm watches, minimum, as early as tomorrow evening.
Yep, tomorrow evening into first thing Tuesday morning.
As late as Tuesday morning.
Yep.
From basically, I would say from Mena to Little Rock to Memphis North.
Yep.
Fully expecting to see a winter storm watch. I think there's enough confidence in. Yes, we're going to have the moisture. Yes, we're going to have the lift, but and it's enough to say that yes, the potential is there for a winter weather event.
Yep.
Now then, here's the thing. So here's the thing. Don't make any major plans right now. We're still, we're still talking a week. We're still talking 4 days out, and this could all go away between now and then. But the confidence is there that everything is increasing towards a winter weather event. Here 3 or 4 days ago, we were thinking it might be severe weather.
Yep.
But this has gone the other direction, and really, the other concern with this is that the Storm Prediction Center has a lack of severe weather across the Gulf Coast.
I've noticed that. I saw that with the day 4 to day 8 discussion here. They're not really too concerned about severe weather, which helps your winter weather threat here. So like Derek said before, if you have like Rhonda's question, for example, you know, your daughter's wedding on Friday evening. Right now, don't make any major decisions because we're still 4 days away. I know everyone's kind of time constricted, but try not to make those major decisions until we get a better idea. We're going to try to get it out to you guys as first and fast as we can, but we want to be accurate too. So that's why we're saying right now we don't have an area of concern here. Actually, National Weather Service just issued a special weather statement up there in Northeast Arkansas. So I'm going to check that out here in a bit. But as I said before, just keep that in mind, okay? Be prepared. Like me and Derek did earlier. Go to the grocery store, get stuff, be prepared, folks, okay? Yep. Even if it doesn't happen, I'd rather for you guys to be ready to go, stocked up, etc., than it not happen. Michael, I saw your question. I'm going to talk about Wednesday in just a bit. But my message to everybody, because I know a lot of people are kind of wondering what to do. I know it's around the middle of the week, going into the late week, busiest time of the week. Everybody's got plans, etc. Just be prepared. North Arkansas, I would go ahead and make preparations for the potential of a winter storm. That means getting your batteries, getting your food, your cans. Be ready for any potential power outages, etc. Okay, Central and South right now, you still have about a day. I want to give it about another day to see what guidance is going to do, and then we'll go from there. But have that mindset in place. Plan ahead. Say, hey, you know, what can we do now? We're 4 days out. What can we do this week to kind of mitigate some plans? If you need to change plans, if you don't feel comfortable with going through with your plans, you can always rearrange them, etc. here. But right now, Central and South, the biggest question mark is over your heads right now. North Arkansas, I'm very confident that you will see winter weather out of this, and it's 4 days out. So that's the number one thing I'm going to talk about right now. Also, like I said before, Michael he's made a great point. There will be wind with this system as well. There's a tight gradient pressure that you saw with the models. We're talking 30 to 35 mile per hour wind gusts with this system. And you start getting heavy ice, that's going to cause significant power outage issues across the area. So keep that in mind, okay? Confidence is increasing on a winter storm. Be prepared. Have a plan ready to go. That's the best thing I can tell you right now. 4 days out, still time for plenty of changes, but just have a plan ready to go just to be on the safe side. Go ahead, Derek.
All right, so basically this is the biggest thing that you need to take away from this live stream today.
Yeah.
All right, so be prepared. Now, something that, you know, even us and the National Weather Service and everybody else has noticed is that, guys, this colder surface, warmer aloft.
I've noticed that.
Now, what that could do is set the stage for a freezing rain and sleet event for almost all of Arkansas and less snow here.
Yep.
And even the National Weather Service in Memphis has mentioned it.
Yeah, so they
also
have.
the National Weather Service in Little Rock has mentioned it as well.
Yeah, they have a new special weather statement out. So
highest confidence being highest confidence. Now this is for Northeast Arkansas, West Tennessee, into the Southwest Kentucky area. Basically, highest confidence Northeast Arkansas, Boot Hill. As we mentioning, lower confidence, but confidence increasing for the I-40 corridor point south. Same thing with the National Weather Service in Little Rock. Highest confidence, Little Rock North. Medium confidence, Little Rock to Pine Bluff. Lower confidence south. Again, everything's going to depend on track and low, temperature, and the speed of the Arctic air. The key thing is this front's going to be moving really, really slow.
Yep.
So even if we do not get the amount of ice or snow, we're going to get beneficial rain out of this. You know, several areas, we're talking without the cold air, we would get 2 to 4 inches of rain.
Yep.
Which is something we desperately need, especially in the southern half of the state.
Exactly.
However, you're talking winter weather as well. The bigger concern is for winter weather. We're going to get a lot of that moisture with winter weather, unfortunately. The biggest question now, will it be snow, will it be freezing rain, or will it be sleet?
Right.
Sleet is better for power lines, less for roads. Freezing rain is worse for power unless it's 31, 32 degrees, then it's better for the roads. Once you drop below 30, all bets are off.
Yep. Katie, she asked a question about why do I say it's 4 days out. I want to kind of address that. Technically, if you want to be technical, it's 3 days now. Our days are kind of screwed, so just kind of keep that in mind. But if you want to be technical, 3 days out. You're talking tomorrow, Tuesday, and into Wednesday here. So right around 3 days out for northern Arkansas. I've already said up there in North Arkansas, just have that mindset in place. Okay. Everybody else, this is more of a Thursday situation versus a Wednesday. That's why we keep saying and stressing to you guys, majority of Arkansas is going to see rain on Wednesday, except for far northern Arkansas, the area from Bentonville to Fayetteville over towards Piggott. That's far northern Arkansas, the far northern rows of counties up there in northern Arkansas. The majority of everybody else is going to be rain on Wednesday. So the majority of this will be late Wednesday going into Thursday, much of the day on Thursday. So this is more of a Thursday situation for much of Arkansas versus Wednesday.
Yep.
It's just Wednesday for far northern Arkansas. I hope that answered your question here, but I do apologize. There's a little bit of confusion. I know me and his days right now are kind of screwed all over the place. But let me see here. So let me here go ahead and go through with this. Somebody said there was heaters. That's all he has. Okay, so let's see here. As far as schools, that's another concern, by the way. Mm-hmm. So this is why it's so important that we have these live streams, because not only we're talking about middle of the week, we're talking school, we're talking work, people's got plans, etc. It's the busiest time of the week, right? So as far as schools in Central Arkansas, do you think Wednesday would still be okay as far as weather? Throughout the day on Wednesday, yes. I want to heavily stress that Wednesday will be fine unless something majorly changes and this cold air comes in 12 hours earlier than expected. It's going to be majority of rain on Wednesday. Thursday is a different situation. Wednesday, the majority of the state should be okay. I just want to keep that in mind. Go ahead, Derek.
So this is from the National Weather Service. So one thing I've done is gone through each different forecast discussion through the National Weather Service, especially Shreveport, Little Rock, and Memphis, where confidence is much lower. And they are all in agreement with one thing, that the northern edges of their forecast areas will likely see the greatest impact. So for Shreveport, that's Ashdown, DeQueen, Nashville, Hope, areas like that, Texarkana. And they did say this, is that guidance tends that the cold air is often only grasped by your higher resolution, closer in models. Your NAM, your HR, your RAP, models like that. So we still have about 48 hours before we get a grasp on the extent of the cold air.
So
with that being said, even they are saying that the potential that we won't know for about 2 more days whether or not the potential will be there for a significant event. Now this is for areas like El Dorado, Magnolia, Texarkana, Ashdown, Hope, LZK, Little Rock. National Weather Service said high impact event is becoming likely for areas north of I-40. Areas along I-40 is still a question mark of how soon the cold air gets here. Same thing with the National Weather Service in Memphis. Same thing we're saying. Confidence is high for North and West Arkansas. Confidence is medium for Central into Southern Arkansas. Confidence is lowest for Central or for Southern Arkansas right now.
Right.
The full expect is that everybody will see some type of winter weather out of this. Mm-hmm. Will it be winter storm warning? Will it be ice storm warning criteria? Or will it only be advisory criteria? That's what we have to watch for. But right now we're in that prepping you phase for the possibility of inclement weather.
Thank you. You took the words straight out of my mouth about that. So one question about Jessica. I want to stress this to everybody. We cover the entire state. It's not... We don't favor Central. We don't favor Southern Arkansas. We don't favor anybody else's over anybody. Okay, we cover the entire state. We talk about Northeast Arkansas a lot. I don't know if you've missed our post or what, but we talk about the entire state. So Jonesboro is considered Northeast Arkansas. On Wednesday, let me draw this out real quick. Give everybody a little bit of an update.
Michael Dew had a very good point.
Okay.
We may have a break in the precip Wednesday evening.
Yes.
Before the main event comes through. That's something we're going to have to watch, because people will say the event's over with, and it's not. It'll just be just beginning.
Yep, right through there. And that's the area that we're looking at for Wednesday. Right there in northern Arkansas.
Yep.
That's north of Jonesboro. That's probably, you would put from Fayetteville to Mount Home to Piggott. That's that far northern row of counties up here. This is north of Jonesboro, north of the metro, north of Fort Smith, north of the I-40 and I-30 corridor through here. Okay, so this is the area that we're looking at for Wednesday. On Thursday, let me change the color of this real quick. On Thursday, you start talking about this area. Okay, this is where it starts becoming more of this area on Thursday. So Wednesday here, Thursday here. This is what we're talking about. I just drew this out so that way it kind of reduces the confusion on this. But that's what we're talking about, folks. It's far northern Arkansas here. But I want to stress we're not ignoring anybody. We talk about everybody as often as we can. Go ahead.
Sarah. Sarah Red. We are for northern Arkansas. We are talking about areas along and north of I-40. We are talking the northern half of the state, basically Ozarks, Crowley's Ridge, Jonesboro, Boot Hill area, even basically everywhere from Fort Smith to Morrilton to Conway to Searcy, Newport, Jonesboro points north. That is the area where confidence is highest right now, especially the Ozarks into northeast Arkansas and down into the Ouachitas. That is where confidence is highest of seeing a major winter storm out of this. Now, I'm not saying Central Arkansas will not. What I'm saying is winter storm, snow, sleet, and freezing rain. When you get down to Central Arkansas, it's going to be that fine line of temperatures.
Yep.
We know where do those temperatures go, and again, we tend to see cold air come in a lot sooner than what is currently anticipated. So once again, we're starting Wednesday in North Arkansas, transitioning through Thursday afternoon in the rest of the state.
Yep.
Donna, when we say cold comes in deeper and faster. It's kind of a little bit of both geographically and atmospherically both. Because what happens is Arctic air is shallow.
Yep.
And basically
I'll draw it out actually.
It does not like to compete. Well, what happens is Arctic air comes down. Well, in the plains it goes due south because you don't have any mountains. So what it does is when it hits the Ozark Mountains, it seeps around the mountains. How long that takes depends on the strength of the Arctic air mass. So really, it's a little bit of both. It's geographically and atmospherically, because you could have a shallow at first, and then the deeper Arctic air tends to filter over the mountains with time. So basically, you can have temperatures in the 20s at the surface, but aloft, say 500 feet up, it could be in the 40s and 50s.
Yep.
That's also why many mornings across the southern U.S. you see clouds first thing in the morning, because your temperatures aloft are in the 40s and 50s, while the surface they're down in the 20s and 30s. So that moisture is strung up high.
Yep. So basically, what he just said, I drew out on a map here. So high pressure in the plains, cold air seeps around the mountains here, and then the majority, the deeper cold air, finally gets over the mountains. And then starts seeping down. Once that happens, everybody should probably go over to at least a brief period of light snow before the precipitation completely ends here. But as I said before, that all depends on what happens. Cold air, as he just mentioned before, guidance does not do well with cold air until we get literally a day one out on the system. So just kind of keep that in mind. The point of this live stream is to kind of prep everybody right now.
We had a question from Jeff Hearn. The criteria for winter storm warnings versus ice storm warning. Now here's the thing. So this is where it's going to get. So this is directly from the National Weather Service website.
Yep.
A winter storm warning is snow accumulations 4 inches or more in one event, sleet of half an inch or more in one event, or freezing rain or freezing drizzle for a quarter inch or more.
Right. One more thing you want to mention, the winter storm warning is the 2 to 4. That's just a matter of fact, you can get a winter storm warning with 2 to 4 inches of snow if the criteria is met for significant impacts.
And one thing else I want to mention, if freezing rain is not in combination with sleet and or snow, you get an ice storm warning. Ice storm warning is strictly for ice amounts and freezing rain only of a quarter inch or more. So based upon this setup right now, we could be looking at a winter storm warning criteria versus the ice storm warning criteria just based off of that. Now, if things transition to more ice, then that could change. Obviously, that's why I said winter storm watches will likely be hoisted for much of the state by the time we get to especially on Tuesday afternoon.
Yep. Bear me for just a second. I'm going over to the 18Z GFS. This is why I did this live stream right now, because we're coming in with afternoon guidance. So basically, same thing from yesterday. You're seeing the afternoon guidance starting to come in. So if you stayed this long in the live stream, you're fixing to get a treat. You're fixing to see what me and Derek see all the time. You see the model guidance starting to come in and starting to have an idea on what we're looking at here. So this is why we're saying now, if you know anybody with winter weather questions about Arkansas or travel or trying to figure out what to do, send them our way. Send them in this live stream right now, because a lot of people come in after we're live and they ask questions that never gets answered. So this is the time now. If you know anybody, tag them. If you know family or friends, tag them in this live stream. That way you get they get an idea on what we're looking at here. So the pink is freezing rain, yes. Said before, and another thing I want to throw out to everybody while I have everybody here. I tell you guys this during severe weather. I'm gonna tell you this during winter weather.
Yep.
You gotta know your counties. You gotta know where you live. You gotta know where you stand in Arkansas. I cannot stress that enough. It's very, very crucial, because we get a lot of questions about my county here or my county there or my county this. You gotta know where you live, folks. You got to. I tell you this during severe weather. Same thing applies with winter weather. Another thing, when these winter storm watches start coming out, do not assume that it doesn't mean that you're not going to see winter weather. Okay? These winter storm watches are going to start in northern Arkansas. That's my first warning to you guys. It's going to start in North Arkansas.
Yep.
And then it's going to start pushing into central and possibly South Arkansas if trends support that far south. But I want to stress that northern Arkansas is going to start their winter storm watch first. I already see it coming. I told him this morning, that somebody's going to ask that when the winter storm watch comes out, that it's not going to do anything in my area or anything just so you're outside of winter storm watch. It doesn't mean that at all. I want to stress that. That's my first and probably my only warning to y'all about that. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. Know where you live. Know your counties. Know where you live. Very, very important when it's winter weather and severe weather.
And Jason Hampton, many of you know him for his crystal ball.
Oh yeah, his crystal ball
on social media. You know, and again, he's making the same exact point that we've made as well on this, is that models never handle Arctic systems good.
Yep.
And basically, as he says, and we're expecting it too, is shift back in about 24 to 36 hours to where models start shifting back towards the winter weather. This is where confidence, this is where experience comes in. This is where experience comes in. If you're the basic weather person, you're not gonna know how to depict every single thing. This is what we do. We take analogs, we take guidance, we take experience. We take climate. We throw it all into a pot, mix it up, and then we use it to give you our best forecast possible. Yep. Yes, the last event busted. Temperatures with that event were a headache. You had snow on one side of town, you had rain on another side of town. We had 3 inches of rain or 3 inches of snow here at the weather center. You drive 4 miles to our east, they had nothing but rain. There was no rhyme or reason for it. No meteorological explanation made sense. That was an event that we just kind of tossed out as okay, no man's land. We learned from it for next time, but it's one of those events that everybody was like, okay, we came out with forecast, we know what's going to happen, and it didn't happen because it didn't make any sense. This event is much more confidence, because this is what we know from, this is an experience forecast. This is what we know, this is what we've seen. And this is what we've seen time and time again. Yeah,
this is more typical winter weather versus the other one. The other one, and I even told you guys this in the blogs before that last event, that forecasting upper level lows like that bowling ball lows are a headache. You're not going to nail it right down to and right down to the town. It's just not going to happen.
Benjamin Purtle's asking about our expertise about making an emergency plan with the hospitals. We can't tell you what or what not to do. Again, same thing with the Department of Transportation, same thing with emergency services, same thing with schools. We don't make those decisions. The National Weather Service does not make those choices.
No.
Local media doesn't make those choices.
Now, I will say this, okay? If you're working in the Department of Transportation or in a hospital or anything like that, and you would like an idea on what potentially we could be looking at, once we get a better idea, I think we can help out a lot of folks.
Yeah.
So if y'all feel like y'all want to reach out to us, first of all, we'd be greatly appreciative of it. If y'all feel like y'all want to reach out for us for our opinions and go with it, that's perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine. That's the number one thing I want to stress.
Let's go back to the travel impact map.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, so we had a question. So we have a couple of questions. One from Amanda about traveling in South Arkansas Wednesday for a follow-up Thursday. We also have a couple more questions about travel in North Arkansas as well as in Central Arkansas. So what we've done is we've gone back to this is what we call the Winter Storm Severity Impact Map. This is an experimental product that the National Weather Service came out with, and so far it has done extremely well. Minus the last event, but we're not going to talk about that event ever again. After this straight. But again, this is as of noon on Thursday. You're going to see another one come out that will be from Wednesday night through Thursday night, coming out later this evening.
Yep.
I fully expect to see more red. I expect to see more yellow further south. Again, as of right now, if this forecast were tomorrow, this is what you would expect. No impact in southeast Arkansas, limited in southwest, and then of course it gets greater as you go into central and northern Arkansas. Again, regardless of where you live in northern Arkansas, travel is going to suck. I'm just going to be honest, and it's going to suck for several days, because once you drop below freezing Wednesday, you're probably not going to come back above freezing
till Sunday,
or Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
And if some guidance has its way, we keep looking at a prolonged period similar to last year below freezing air again. But that's a story for that's a blog for another day.
Yeah.
But with that being said, obviously travel impacts are going to be great across much of the state.
Yep.
Again, this is highly dependent upon surface temperature, and again, models. This is based off of everything. This is based off of guidance, based off climatology, all the above, and of course based on where you live. And again, if this map were in the northeast, it would be limited impacts because they know how to deal with winter weather better than we do in the south. As is the case in Little Rock when you get freezing fog and I-440 becomes ice rink. But again, this is an impact map. So basically, this just depends upon the current forecast as of today.
GG, that's what we're going to do. After this live stream, probably either between later today or tomorrow, we'll make a post about it here. And another thing I want to kind of throw out to everybody, it's not meant to bash anybody. We're not calling anybody out or anything like that. It's just a reoccurring issue. It's something that we have a problem with whenever we're trying to forecast winter weather or severe weather. You guys know we don't mind answering questions. We don't mind helping y'all out. That's what we do here at Arkansas Weather Watchers. That's why I strive for all of our forecasters. But at the same time, you got to meet us halfway too. So that's why it's very critical to know where you live, because let's take, for example, you live in Union County and you don't know you live in Union County, which is in South Arkansas, by the way, and you're in North Arkansas and you see an event in North Arkansas and you ask us in Union County and you don't know where it's at. That can be potentially, first of all, potentially life-threatening right there, because if you're somewhere and something goes off, you don't know where you live, then something bad can happen. So make sure you know where you live, guys. It's just a number one thing. It's not meant to bash anybody or anything like that, but it's just something that we want to talk to you guys about because it's a recurring issue. So know where you live. Talk to your family. Talk to your friends. If you don't know where you live, talk to somebody. Somebody in your town knows what county it is. So just kind of keep that in mind, guys. So yeah, I know that the freaking Chiefs game's on. He told me about it. I didn't realize it. I was like, wait a minute, there's a game going on.
Y'all can watch both.
Yeah, you can watch both, by the way. I mean, this is just on your phone. You can watch both. Let us know how the game is going. Oh, wait a minute. It's 21-10 Chiefs.
Another thing Jason pointed out as well, temperatures are going to be very hard to predict. 1 to 2 degrees is going to be the difference in a cold rain and a major ice storm. And then 5 degrees is going to go from cold rain to a snowstorm. And again, even from surface to aloft. I've seen rain at 17, and I've seen snow at 35. Everything depends upon the atmosphere. We don't control that. Again, another question is this: how bad is it going to be for Mina and Little Rock? Also, will we talk about accumulations right now? No, we're not going to talk about accumulations now.
You're not getting accumulations.
It is way too soon. It's probably going to be Tuesday or Wednesday. But keep in mind, we're going to be having to make a map for ice amounts, sleet amounts, and snow amounts. It's going to be a long week.
A lot of information thrown y'all's way. A lot of information thrown y'all's way.
And, you know, with that being said, after Tuesday, we're probably going to forego a lot of forecasts, our regular 7-day outlooks to focus on this storm, and then we'll pick that back up on Thursday. And then we'll see what happens there. But I do want to devote all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday to strictly winter storm coverage.
Yep.
Because we know there's going to be winter storm at this point. The question is going to be, will it be north, central, south, or all these states?
Exactly.
So right now, confidence is highest from central north.
I want to address that comment from that was from Morgan. How bad is it going to be for me? That's a little. Honestly, between me and Derek, our gut feelings right now, I don't like that area. It's just something. It's something event like what happened in like December 10th. And a lot of people are probably going to relate to this, but don't you ever just get that feeling that something's fixing to happen, like your gut feeling's trying to tell you something, and it's completely different from what you're seeing? That's how we're feeling right now. Something is just ringing alarm bells down there for I-30 for some odd reason. It's been bugging me for the last couple of days. That area from Mena to Little Rock, I-30, points north and east. Somewhere in that area, I'm very worried about where that ice axis sets up. Wherever it sets up, you're going to be in some serious trouble. So keep that in mind, okay? You see that yellow area where that WSI map is on the map? That is the probably area right there where you're looking at the potential either of a significant winter storm, or hardly anything at all because of cold rain. So where does that what does that cutoff line set up? Wherever that cutoff line sets up, and just north of that line, you're going to get a lot of ice, sleet, potentially snow, and a lot of travel issues in that corridor. So that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't be shocked if this orange area came south and you start introducing red areas within the next couple of days. So just kind of keep that in mind here. Go ahead, Derek.
Will Wise asking about the Monroe area. Model's not showing much. Again,
down there in North Louisiana, that is a good question. That's a great question.
Because that will also affect our followers up here in southeast Arkansas too, especially around Union, Ashley, Chico counties. Our southern row of counties down to the I-20 corridor.
Yep.
Is much less confidence than the rest of the state.
Definitely.
Because the track of the low and the extent of the warm air is going to be determined on that. Basically, you could be at 35 down there with rain 20 miles to your north, 29 and
freezing,
ice.
Yeah, and ice.
So, again, right now, I would say you should be okay in Monroe for much of this event. Yep. Even the National Weather Service Shreveport said that there's probably mostly in their northern zone, which is mostly southwest Arkansas. That kind of goes along with our thinking as well.
Yep.
However, changes are likely.
Yep.
I want to stress this. Changes are likely.
Because all it takes is that cold air to move south, and that's another concern down there, or north. And we could potentially be dealing with a different situation. But down in North Louisiana, I would go with a cold rain down there right now, just to be on the safe side. But I could see the cold air busting up here, and you get ice down there in North Louisiana. I've seen setups like that before. And another thing, this low goes north, and it gets a cold rain for much of the area. So that's where the difference is right now. Michael, you're not going to get accumulations out of us right now. You can try as hard as you want, but you're not going to get accumulations out of us right now. It's not going to happen. Accumulations right now, you're 4 days out. Accumulations are known for day 1, day 2. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to get accumulations this early out. It's just models are going to be all over the place at this point. Somebody's talking about your dad. Hey, don't mind this dude back here.
But again.
Oh no! Hey, go check out that comment from Mark.
The snowmobile.
I need enough snow to pull out the flamethrower. I've seen that video.
Okay, we are not recommending that.
No.
No. Again, obviously, we're about to sit down and work on a forecast for y'all. It'll be my first in a while, thanks to COVID. But again, It's going to be focused mainly on the Wednesday and Thursday time frame. But we're also going to mention. I will say this. I feel confident enough to put, winter storm threat in the forecast for Thursday.
Yep.
For Wednesday and Thursday. I do feel confident to put at least a 20% chance of weather of some kind for Friday and for Sunday. Again, a lot really depends on what's coming up. Again, the next few days are going to determine a lot. The track of the low, the strength of the system, the strength of the Arctic air mass, and then of course, obviously, the amount of rainfall we get at the surface. Another thing I want to mention before we go, flash freeze. It's something you mentioned as well, Cameron. Flash freeze.
Yeah.
When the temperatures fall, boom. Even if you don't get moisture.
Yeah, so I want to talk about that. So I've mentioned this before. Very rare to get it here in Arkansas unless you have a very, very interesting setup where you get Arctic air here. So basically what flash freeze is, you basically go from the 50s to the 20s in less than 12 hours. It's a very rapid change. It's just like, for example, you go outside with water and your temperature goes well below freezing and your water just instantly turns ice. That's basically what flash freeze means in the layman's term. So keep that in mind. Temperatures, and that's gonna throw a lot of people off. This event and the last event is about this. That's how different they are.
Major difference.
The cold air behind this system is gonna make a big difference in what happens, because all it takes, and here's the thing, even if you get cold rain with this setup, if you get in an area down there in South Arkansas where you don't get a lot of wind and you get cold rain, temperatures fall below freezing, you can have travel issues down there too.
Yep.
Even without even seeing freezing rain or sleet or snow down there in South Arkansas. That's how much cold air is coming in behind this system. No, it's not going to rival 2021 in a way. That still remains to be seen, but it is going to be significant cold air. That's how we're trying to tell you right now, okay? So I feel confident in South Arkansas. Seeing 20 to 30 mile per hour winds, even if you get a cold rain, should help out the roads, but it's still a wait and see. Those back roads are known for sheltering the winds, and that's where you have those travel issues because of the instant freeze of it. So
another thing, just looking at National Weather Service, Jackson.
That's Jackson, okay.
Same exact thing. They're the lowest confidence is in the southeast corner.
I
of the
didn't
state.
think about that either. Read that top comment up there. The drought.
Yeah.
That's gonna have a big impact with trees. That's another thing I want to talk about. So, you guys all know by now we're in a drought across much of Arkansas. You get an ice storm on top of a drought. Your trees are very dry right now. All it takes is about half an inch to an inch of ice, and you start bringing down tree limbs. Tree limbs are going to start falling because they're so dry and they're not able to hang on. Mm-hmm. They made a great point about that. That could easily be another issue we deal with this. Actually, as a matter of fact, there's 18Z coming out. We could talk about that briefly.
Again, the 18Z GFS I don't really trust because it's always the off run.
Yeah.
This is something that us and Zachary Hall have mentioned, talked about on several occasions as well. The noon runs, it seems to us, the morning runs have better data than the afternoon and evening runs.
Yep.
Don't know why. It's just something that comes out. Like your morning run and your mid-afternoon run tends to be a little bit off compared to the evening runs. And again, there's no rhyme or reason for it. It just seems to be that way when we go back and look at tracks and systems. But again, that's why we don't focus on one model set, one model run, one data run.
There's a lot of cold air coming in behind that. We'll go ahead and just kind of show it to you guys. So before, don't take the GFS with any kind of granum right now. That's your first low, by the way. So this is Thursday morning. You're at 37 degrees here in the metro, by the way. I wouldn't trust guidance with temperatures. I think your temperature is going to be a lot colder than this. But I can see what your problem is going to be up here. You get northeast winds, it's going to drop that freezing line down into central Arkansas just like that. I can just read that all the way here. So, what does 18Z mean?
Mark, no.
Yeah, Mark, no. No. You're not getting that here. And it's just not going to happen here. But
I might get enough snow last February. I'm just saying.
There's your low in southeast Arkansas. That's the first one, by the way. But basically, what 18Z means, it means what time is it? Around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Afternoon data. That's all it means.
It is Zulu time.
Yep. Zulu time. So basically, your lows here You get northeast winds on the backside. It's going to drop that 32-degree line down into central Arkansas. I can read that from here. So another concern I'm seeing, maybe you can see the 60s kind of vetting its way into far eastern Arkansas here. So I can't rule out maybe a strong storm or two late Wednesday night, depending on the temperature. But I'm having a hard time trusting the GFS right now. I think it's really, really overdoing the temperatures. As a matter of fact, oh, there it is right there. So there it is, attempting to come back colder.
Yep.
It's trying to come back colder. You can see where the freezing line is setting up central Arkansas here. So basically from I-40 north, that's what it has. South Arkansas stays a cold rain out of this entire situation.
Let's run this out. Run this out a couple more frames.
I can't. It's out to 96 hours. That's how fast it's going to go. So you can see what it does. The first low comes through.
Yep.
And then the second low is right on its heels. Second low is about right here in southeast Texas. And it kind of rides its heels. So it's going through central Louisiana. So another thing, your low was in southeast Arkansas. Now it's in Mississippi.
Yep.
So it's back south once again.
It's transitioning back. And again, you're going to see this flip-flopping.
Yep,
you know, for
exactly.
a couple of more days.
And thank you, Kristen, for that comment. I appreciate that so much.
And again, everything is going to depend upon the track and the extent of the cold air.
Okay. I want to stay on here just a little bit longer to let the 18Z run go through.
Yep.
And then we'll go from there. Oh, there it is. Okay, so this is what it's doing. This is what I was saying. The first low that comes through is dropping the temperature below freezing right at lunch. So central Arkansas, you're screwed with ice if you go with GFS. But it's much colder. My worry is this. I'm going to draw this out for you guys. When that first low comes through, you're going to have northeast winds. If your 32-degree line is in northeast Arkansas, that 32-degree line is going to plummet south.
Yep.
It's going to force its way just due south. So that's what's going to start making the freezing line go south into, even in some cases, as far south as southeast Arkansas. So we got to watch that. By the way, northwest Arkansas teens up there.
This could be a situation to where you have you're colder in southeast Arkansas than you're in southwest. Now, flip side of that coin, everybody remembers the last winter weather event.
Yep.
It was colder in Texarkana than it was in Jonesboro. So, again, the extent of the cold air really depends upon everything. It's something we're going to have to watch over the next 48 hours or so as we get a little bit closer.
We got a problem. We got a problem now with GFS. Remember what you were saying about those temperatures being 28, 29 degrees with freezing rain?
Yes.
That's what's wanting to do.
So
It's keeping things purely icy here in central Arkansas. So that's what's wanting to do. South Arkansas, basically, it's scenario 2. We go from rain to an icy mix. We change over to maybe some sleet, a little bit of snow on the backside. By the way, there's your second disturbance coming up.
And there's the second
disturbance. And there's the second disturbance right there. So you go back to winter weather.
This is Friday night.
This is Thursday night to Friday morning. So this would just hurt your road conditions across the area. But this is now starting to set up. This is what we're talking about, that 1-2 punch. Right.
So Euro GFS both have this 1-2 punch on Thursday. So basically another round. Basically, this would be more sleet and snow because your cold air will already be in place. These upper lows you have to watch because in an Arctic air mass they tend to overproduce.
Yep. And this one's much different because, as I said before, there's your upper level low coming in. So there's your vorticity. There it is right there.
Yep.
So your upper level low is through here, so it brings winter weather across much of northern and central Arkansas here. And I think the precip can be underdone too because you have no severe weather. That's the biggest thing with trying to forecast this, guys. We have no severe weather with this. So the Gulf is wide open. It's ready for business with this here. And as a matter of fact, I can go through and check out the day 4 to day 8. And I don't even think they have a risk out. No. Very long discussion. But the main thing that is being said, severe potential appears too marginal and uncertain to include 15% probabilities. Meaning you may see a couple of strong storms near the cold front in far southeast Louisiana, but that's it. And you get no severe weather. The Gulf of Mexico is wide open for moisture. So that's all.
Again, we're going to answer this last question, and then we're going to go and let y'all go. Get back to the game. We're going to work on a forecast that will be coming out here about 6.
Yeah.
But once again, Teresa, really, it takes about a quarter to half inch of ice to really start causing power issues.
Yep.
Once you get over half an inch to 3/4 inch plus, that's when we start talking on a lot more issues with powers. So once again, Kevin has popped in also and has mentioned that the UK Met has 1 inch of snow across much of the area with the second disturbance. So again,
yep, that second disturbance is going to have to be watched.
So again, we're talking about a 1-2 punch here, and again, we keep talking about 1-2-3 punch. Everybody remembers what happened last February, and I know there's a lot of anxiety from it. I don't think it's going to be near the event that we saw the last time around.
Yep.
But again,
matter of fact, I have a chart.
But again, all bets are off because Arkansas weather does its own thing, as everybody knows, and so.
And it's gonna be a little hard to read, by the way. Yeah, I understand. I didn't mean to cut you off.
We're gonna make a graphic like this. For you definitely. For you better to understand.
This is something I just pulled off of Google here, but this basically tells you what you need to index. So this is your ice damage index, basically, and I'm gonna redesign this so that way you guys can read it better. If you can't read it, I'm gonna read it to you guys. So basically, what you need to know is in the red and the purple area. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you get a 1/4 inch of ice, I mean just a 1/4 inch of ice, with 25 to 35 mile per hour wind gusts, you're talking numerous utility issues, tree limb damage, especially with the drought we're in. Outages could last as long as from 1 to 5 days.
Yep.
So keep that in mind. You start talking to purple, you start talking 5 to 10 days because you're adding more ice to the power lines, extensive damage to feeder lines and high voltage transmission lines. You see all the time with those ice storms where the transformers just explode. So yeah, I know. Like so for something I pulled off Google. This is not our map. I'm gonna redesign this.
We're gonna redesign.
I'm gonna redesign it. Don't worry, Mama Donna. I got it. But the number one thing is down here at 5. Okay. You start talking even as low as 0.5 inch of ice, which is half an inch of ice. That is enough to cause catastrophic damage. You're talking almost 2,000 ice storm damage at that point. That's catastrophic damage to distribution and transmission networks. Outages could last as long as weeks. I don't think it's going to get to that extent, but
we're gonna watch
it.
So the biggest thing is okay. So Jacob, right now travel effects could last well beyond Friday. I don't want to say yes or no right now, but given the setup, given the potential for Arctic air to remain firmly in place, if you have a deep snowpack across northern and central Arkansas, well then, even across northern Arkansas, you're going to have temperatures in the 20s with lows in the singles and teens. So with that being said, we could be watching for the possibility of prolonged travel issues, especially if we get the second round on Thursday night and Friday morning.
Yep.
But with that being said, we know it's been a long one. It's been a long show this afternoon. But a lot to go over. There's gonna be plenty more of these coming up next few days. And once again, it's something we're gonna have to watch over the next few days. Again, a forecast tonight and tomorrow, and then Tuesday and Wednesday we go strictly into winter storm coverage leading up to our event Wednesday night and Thursday.
Yep.
We thank you for joining us and trusting us right here on your source for all things
Arkansas weather.